Well, good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. We've got a great webinar on tap for you here this morning. We're going to hear from the coach, Dave Pemper. He's going to talk about the opportunities around 401k business and how we can grow that business in talking to our clients every day, as well as using seminars to grow that business. So very capable and experienced leader today of today's webinar. So I know you're going to enjoy that. A couple of things that I want to mention to you before we get started. Number one, there'll be a couple of polls come up, as always. Answer those as quickly as you can. You're not making any lifelong commitments there. That's just asking for your interest levels. Also, there'll be opportunity for you to ask questions, but you have to type them in. We have a pretty good sized group here today, as you can imagine, a fairly popular topic, and so we got a pretty good sized group. So if you can go ahead and type your answers in, and we will get them asked and answered just as soon as we can. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a great webinar this morning. We're going to go ahead and start. We're going to talk about a couple of programs that we have available here at IAMS. One is the Referred Producer Program, probably our most popular program if you judge by the amount of checks that go out based on the RPM program. We send those checks out quarterly, and they're based upon referrals made of your colleagues to IAMS, and we pay a bonus to the referrer. Remember, that does not take anything away from the person that's referred. So if you refer somebody to IAMS, we put them in the system as a referral from you, and we pay that as a bonus to you. Nothing comes out of the referee's pocket. So, and it goes into yours. We send out checks for literally thousands of dollars now to folks on the Referred Producer Program. We love to do that, and thank you, those of you that are taking advantage of that. It's a very simple program. When they get appointed with us, we send you a check as an appreciation, and then as they begin to do business, then you receive a 20 basis point override. For instance, on annuities, it's a little bit higher than obviously on life insurance and single premium life, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow, and you receive that referral bonus for as long as they're doing business with us. So great way to grow your kind of a override type system without having all the liabilities and things associated with that, and we do all the work. So hopefully you'll take advantage of that. Marketing reimbursement is another program that already I'm looking at our list of attendees. Many of you take advantage of on a regular basis. Pretty simple program. You do business with us. Depending on the product, we put money in your marketing reimbursement account. You send us receipts, then we pay that out to you, and those receipts, of course, need to be for marketing expenses, expenses of growing your business. Pretty liberal on how we do that, but nevertheless, they do need to be based on things that are going to help you grow and make your business bigger and better. So marketing reimbursement is a great program. Shelby is the one that administers both of those programs, and she can give you an idea of what your balances are on both. So if you have any questions, give her a call. Certainly if you have any questions on how the program works, give myself, Steve Murray, or your sales director a call. Moving along, I just noticed I didn't have the screen turned on, so hopefully now you can all see the screen in front of you. So the new producer bonus is another program that I think you'll, for those of you, again, I'm looking at our attendees, and I see that many of you are folks that have not done business with us yet. We welcome you to the webinar. This is indicative of some of the other webinars that we do, and I hope that you benefit and profit from that. I'm going to mention the new producer bonus. You can see the levels in front of you. You can kind of see some of the selections of the awards that you can choose at the various levels. I'm going to guide you to, for instance, at the $500,000 level. If you wanted to go ahead and get in the seminar business, say you're listening to today's webinar, you kind of like what we talk about, you think that the coaching and having the seminar made available to you and helping you through the process all the way from A to Z is going to be beneficial to you. You write $500,000 of business with you, and we will do a 5,000 piece mailing, get you the seminar and get you the coaching. We will take all care of all of that here at IAM. So if that's of interest to you, if you've considered getting in the seminar business and would like a little boost along the way, that $500,000 production level is a great way to do that and do it at our expense. So new producer bonus is available to anybody that is licensed with IAMS in the last 180 days. All of the business that you do in the first 6 months of getting appointed with us counts towards that new producer bonus, and you can see there's various levels at which you can claim them. Love sending out the new producer bonus. You can also just say, hey, I want to add money to my marketing reimbursement account. We do that at a pretty high level. So at the $300,000 level, you can see we'll put $2,000 in your marketing reimbursement. That's $2,000 you can use for any marketing that you want to do. At the $500,000 level, we don't have it there, but you can get 4,000 put in your marketing reimbursement account. So it's a great way to kind of build yourself a war chest because the marketing of your business is so key. And really the separator, what I see as a separator for a lot of people that are doing, 700, 800,000 of annuity or 40 or 50 of life, and those that are doing more like 2, 3, 4 million of annuity and 100 or 200,000 of flow premium. So great way to build your business, and we can help you with that. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Wanted to mention our back office support only because we're so proud of it. We do a great job with it. We get great compliments on it. We know that we're probably in our industry in terms of FMOs and what we do the best. We're probably going to be at the front end of that for you. We keep you in contact with everything that's going on with your business from the point that we receive it here all the way to the point that the policy is issued and you receive commissions on that business. So very important part. It's something that I don't know that a lot of folks recognize until they experience it. So it's hard for us to sell, obviously, but once you get to feel how it can work and how it might save you some of the expenses and time on your own side, because we take that on here, I think you'll grow to love that and see it for the highly valuable addition to what we do here at IAMS on your behalf. See that as a highly valuable addition to your agency. I mentioned earlier one of our marketing reimbursement system. A lot of folks will use some of the marketing reimbursement for what the creative team does, and they do everything at cost. So anything that we do for you on the marketing side of your business, whether it's putting a website in place, developing letterheads and logos and ordering business cards and letterhead for you, building out your Facebook page or doing your Facebook marketing and making you more notable in your area for what you do and how you do it via digital marketing, all that stuff we're going to do at cost, and you can use marketing reimbursement. So effectively, it becomes a free part of your business. And a little plug for the marketing department and what they do and how they do it is really quite simple. I mean, they've been doing it for years for people just like you. They have the templates, all the pieces, even the websites. There's a lot of that's templated, so it's a very effective and very easy way for you to get up and running. They can really make your life easy, and I think that's so important. Marketing is a big part of your business, but that's not what we do. We're not as producers in the field. That's not our expertise. So you got to pay somebody to do it. You got to be willing to do that, and you might as well get it from somebody that knows exactly what you need and is going to do it for you at the lowest cost possible. Because our interest is helping you grow your business. Because when your business grows, that's how IAMS becomes successful. Our website, a lot of great stuff out there. So there's some a nice term quoter if you're in the life business. Most of the forums are online. We've got an annuity search engine. We call it the annuity quote engine. That you can go in and say, hey, what's the best multi-year guarantee product available right now on a 3-year basis, available to age 90, and it will sort through those for you. That's the annuity sales engine. We can do that for you as well here, and we do it day in and day out, but you have that available also on our website. One thing that I wanted to mention to you specifically on our website, and you can't see it very well probably on your screen, it's pretty small, but on that picture of our website, about the 4th or 5th tab over is called support, and if you click on support on our website and then go to the annuity or the IAMS library, you're going to find a slew of sales tools, documentation, calculators, everything that you could possibly think of to help you grow your business, and a lot of marketing-based stuff, a referral generator that you can use on there. There's a lot of tools out there. That's the reason I mentioned that specifically, is for those of you that have looked at our website and used some of the other stuff, you may not have seen that yet. So I'm going to encourage you to take a minute, go ahead and look on the website, go down to support, look at the IAMS library, and just look at some of the tools available there. You'll be pleased and surprised. Any business concept that you can think of, any sales concept that you might want to present to a client. A lot of fillable forms. You can go in and fill a few things in, then email them right to your client. And it's really just built to promote sales. And there's also kind of a tutorial on there that we can walk you through how you do each one of the functions that you need to. And certainly at any time, call our office and say, hey, walk me through this website or walk me through your library. Show me some of the things that are on there. We're glad to do that. I know it's a little little time out of your schedule, but I think you'll find some things on there that are very, very beneficial. Our website is password protected, so you would need, those of you that haven't already, you'd need to go on there and put in a username and password and register yourself. You're going to get an okay back immediately. The reason that it is password protected is there will be likely information stored on there that would be pertinent to your, so you can go in and look at your business. It's not set up to do that just yet, but it will be set up to do that. So we password protected it about a year ago. Retirement Analyzer, great tool for you. If you haven't looked at the Retirement Analyzer or haven't looked at a software tool like that you can use with your client to kind of show them, here's where you are now, here's where you want to get, here's what you need to do to get there. And by the way, have you thought about this, and this? It's a great tool to guide you with your client in a very graphic and complete process through their retirement life cycle. And so, for instance, a lot of times, you're talking to a client, you can tell from talking to them that they're relatively conservative, but then when you go and put in what their assets are, this thing is going to graphically show them where they are. Are they 20% risk and 80% guarantees like they think they are, or are they more like 70% risk and 30% guarantees like maybe they really are? That's very beneficial. Somebody might say, hey, this is what I know I'm going to need in retirement. This is what I'd like to have for an income in retirement. And you can help them better and incorporate Social Security, pension incomes, incomes from investments. It incorporates everything, but it can help them show exactly where they are on that retirement journey. Right now, we're taking care of the entire cost of you using that. So if you went out and said, hey, retirementanalyzer.com, that cost is probably going to be $50, $70 a month for you. We're going to take care of that cost. You talk with Marcus Soller here in our office. He will get you a link so that you can go on and have a look at it. He'll walk you through it. I don't want to say that type of software is for everyone, but if you're looking for a total system to sit down with the client where it puts you on a really professional and fully disclosed level with your client, nothing better than the Retirement Analyzer. It is what it says. I mean, it's a way for your client to analyze their retirement plan and where they're at. Great tool. If it's something that you want to use, give Marcus a call and have him walk you through it.
Hey, Steve, can you hear me?
I can. How are you, Dave?
Wonderful. I'm doing fine.
Great,
hey, just to let you know, for some reason I couldn't get controls. I just talked to Josh, so I'm on just the audio. So you're going to have to kind of walk me through this a little bit.
Okay.
I don't have a screen.
Okay. I'm guessing it's user error.
Yes, you would think that, wouldn't you?
No, I'm sure it's something technical. I appreciate you being, and I'll hang with you throughout the webinar here then today. We've got a great group, by the way. I'm going to run a quick poll up here. If you look at the screen in front of you, we're talking a little bit about our wealth management firm, IMS Wealth Management, or RIA. If you have interest in incorporating assets under management as part of your business, if maybe you've already done it but you're not happy with your current RIA, maybe they're not as good as they could be about walking you through the sales process. We work very, as you might imagine, we work very closely with a lot of folks that their background has been guarantees, and they're now adding this to part of their business, and we've helped them and built a system that is very adaptable for guys that maybe have come from an insurance background, or maybe they've done some assets under management, but they're not really happy with the way that's worked for them. So we've got Charles and Mike and Joan that are over there, and they can certainly help you through the process step by step by step. If you want to get licensed, if you're already licensed and you want to see a little bit about what we do, we'd like to show you that as well. So if you have any interest at all in looking at IMS Wealth Management, what I'd ask you to do is on this poll, if you could for me, and I want to get through this pretty quickly, if we can get everybody just to give me a quick yes or no on that. A no is perfectly fine. We come from a background of guarantees and safety and guarantees of principles. So I certainly understand if that's your business model. And if you're really happy, if you do have assets under management as part of your business and you're really happy with that, then no reason to change, no reason to yes there. But if you have any inkling that maybe we can help you, probably a 15-minute conversation with what we do and how we do it and what the costs are and what our payouts are might be valuable to you. I'm glad to get that set up. If you hit yes, we'll have Mike or Charles set up a call with you sometime in the next 5 or 10 days and walk you through what we do and how we do it. If you've considered that type of thing for your business, I just think that would be a good use of your time, and we'd love to help you. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised with what we do and how we do it. And boy, you folks are great. So almost 80% have voted already. If there's folks out there that haven't voted yet, if you can do that, because I'm going to close that out here in just a second. Dave, I know you do a little bit of assets under management, and full disclosure, Dave does his assets under management through his broker dealer, and we know that's a real possibility for some of you out there as well. Just speak for a second on assets under management and how that has helped you with your annuity and guarantees business.
Yeah, well, this goes way back, and I started in the financial service arena in insurance in 1981, and then in '84, I still did some fixed products, like fixed annuity business, but I got into investments or security brokering in '84, and I've worked both of those ever since. But what happened after '87's market crash, and truly everything just kind of shut down. And what happens is as far as business rolling in, and I thought, boy, if I just had some kind of a renewal system, and that's right when trails were coming out with mutual funds, but I started my own RIA in the early 90s, and then just a portion. It's very hard to go from commission to under fee base, but it's a great way to go on in and to manage X amount of assets, because as long as that stays on the books, if those clients stay a client with you, they haven't moved to another broker, they haven't moved to another rep, then you're managing that to the best of your ability, but you're also going in and you're getting paid almost, everything used to be quarterly, now it's almost everything's on a monthly basis. You're getting a check every single month, and that check covers a lot of my expenses that come in from putting those assets on management. So can you go wholesale from commissions to fee base unless you've got a pocket full of money because you still have expenses? No, you can't. But can you go in and do 10% of your business every year for 10 years, and all of a sudden you've got a fair amount, a good amount that's in fee base? And I will tell you what else happens is when you are strictly insurance based, you're leaving a fair amount of potential that someone's working with that Edward Jones broker, or someone's working with that independent like Calton and Associates, or someone's working with UBS or Merrill Lynch. What happens is when you've got the ability to show them monies that are in the market for a portion of that money, you control both ends of the money with that client. And I think that in today's day and time, the regulators like to see a holistic approach. They don't want to see just a mutual fund salesperson or just a fixed index or just a life. They want to see a holistic approach from financial advising. So no doubt it very well can be in a very good interest of your client, but there's no doubt also that the fee-based structure of having an ongoing trail coming on into you on a monthly basis it's extremely important to me. And Stephen, since you guys in the last year and a half, 2 years, that you started putting some pretty good money under management with your platform, of how important it is to those reps also.
You bet. And I think you hit on the top three things. Basically, you protect yourself from regulatory, a little bit more regulatory scrutiny that you might have if you're an insurance-only rep. You can add value to your business long-term and take some of the daily pressure of commission sales off of your business. And, of course, you're building a little bit more value in your business with assets under management as well. And then it opens you up. Our experience has been that some of our insurance folks that were strictly insurance, and I'm thinking of 2 or 3 of them right offhand, would tell you that it's increased their assets under management business, certainly, but also it's increased the business that they get on the insurance side. So there's a lot of great reasons, but it is not for everyone. Certainly understand that. And so I think we've got everybody that has voted. We're glad to help you on that. If anything does come, any questions should arise between now and when Charles or Mike gets in touch with you, I'd love to talk with you again. Steve Murray, it's 800-255-5055. You'll see that number a couple times here. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll out. Thank you for quick voting, by the way. We appreciate that. And thank you, Dave. I appreciate your input. IAMS Academy. So the next one is in late May. We're going to do it here in Omaha. Again, we got another poll coming up here really quick because this is a pretty simple one. If you are interested, look up and down there on that screen. You can see, we got sales ideas. I think the centerpiece is the top producers that we have. We have 4 producers that do really large amounts of business on their own that come in and speak on different opportunities and ways to grow your business. I think that's kind of the main course, if you will. But we've got some other, great side dishes. We talk about what's happening in the regulatory environment. You have to be in tune to what's going on in the regulatory environment right now. If you're not, then you're not doing your business justice, and you're not treating your business like a business. You're treating it more like a hobby. So you got to keep track of what's going on from a regulatory standpoint. We talk a lot about what's happening in the industry in terms of product development, and then we'll go over some product stuff. We go through a lot of sales concepts, a lot of marketing ideas, a lot of marketing initiatives that you can use to grow your business. So it's about 2.5 days. You're going to be out of your office for 3 days, but it's about 2.5 days. And I would say a day and a half sales and marketing, maybe a little bit more than that, and maybe about 3/4 of a day or less where we actually talk about specific products. So it is a sales and marketing, what we think is the key to your success. We think we can find you product when you need a product, but getting you in front of the right prospects and keeping you with fresh sales ideas to go back to your clientele so that someone else isn't going into your clientele with better sales ideas. We think that's the most important part of what we can do for you here at IAMS. And so that's what we talk about at our Life and Annuity Academies. As I've mentioned, the next one's going to be here in May. We're going to have one in midsummer. We'll have at least one more in the fall. If you check yes on this poll, which I'm going to launch here right now, if you put yes on that, what's going to happen is you're going to get a registration form and you're going to get a sample agenda. That agenda varies a little bit from academy to academy, but not a lot, so you can get a real feel for how it goes. We take care of your expenses associated with travel, take care of your room, we take care of your meals while you're here, so your cost is non-existent, but you are what you're donating really is a lot of time out of your office. And 3 days I know can be a lot. That's why we try and go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, get you back in get you out of here on Friday and back to your office so that you can catch up and do what you need to do. And we think it's important when valuable time spent away, but we do recognize the value of that time. And I can guarantee you, when you leave on that early Friday afternoon, you're going to say, boy, that's a lot of information. There's a lot of things here that I can use to grow my business. And you're only going to be thinking of 4 or 5 of the maybe 15 to 16 opportunities that come up during the course of that 2.5 days. But they're going to be things that you can put into action in your business, things that you can do in conjunction with one of our top producers to help you grow your business that can make a real difference in the day-to-day effectiveness and efficiency and profitability of your business. That's what the academies are about. That's why they've gained some notoriety in our marketplace. There are a lot of similar opportunities for you, but if you talk to folks, the IAMS Academy is probably considered one of the best because we do concentrate on the sales and marketing part of your business. You're going to come away with some good ideas. So if you have interest,
specific dates on that?
I want to say it's the last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I want to say it's like the 23rd through the 25th, right before Memorial Day weekend.
Okay. All right.
And then the next one we'll have, again, if you fill out that registration form, you're going to get a call. And it basically says, okay, we've got one coming up this date. If that doesn't fit for you, that's okay. Then we've got one coming up in July. We've got another one coming up in September, October. So by filling out that form, you're not committing to the date. We do them in different locations. All you're saying is, hey, I have enough interest that I want to be contacted about those and hear a little bit more about the dates and certainly any question you have on content, we're glad to answer at any point. So that's what that's all about. Appreciate y'all taking a minute to vote. Again, we're up to about 80% response, and I think just in interest of time, I'm going to leave it at that and close this poll out. I know that there might be a few of you out there that are unable to vote because maybe you're having a similar technical difficulty to what Dave might be having. If that's the case, call me here at the office. It's 800-255-5055. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have and send you out the registration link if that is of interest to you. So thank you again for quick voting for me, and let's get moved on here. So we're going to be announcing very soon. You can probably tell by the picture that maybe we're going to be around some water. It'll be ocean water, won't be lake water. It'll be a sunny beach, and we're going to be going probably towards the end of the summer in 2019 to a nice spot where you can kick back with your guest and enjoy a few days of relaxation. We'll mix in a little bit of learning opportunity for you, but we're going to have some fun in the sun for sure. Maybe a little golf, maybe a little deep sea fishing. And it doesn't, the qualification process has started in January, so we're about 3 or 4 months into it. But our qualification period lasts 18 months. So you got plenty of time to qualify. We're looking at probably 2.5 million in order to qualify, and those are points. So you get different level of points for every piece of business that you do with us. Annuities is dollar for dollar, dollar for point, I guess I should say. Flow premium, target premium is about 13 points per dollar. Single premium life is about 1.5 points per dollar. So you can see we try and make that very qualifiable. We'd love to see you all out there. Obviously, we think there's some great benefit to being able to spend some time in a social setting with the folks that you count on to process and do and take care of your business. And for us, it's great for us to get that one-on-one time with the folks that are responsible for our success, which of course is you. So we'd love to have you all out there. Plenty of time to qualify. If you have any questions on that, again, give me here a call at the office. Okay, so let's get to the main course now. We're going to talk with Dave Pimper. And as I mentioned, Dave is a seminar expert. He's probably closing in on the mid 400s or maybe even the low 500s in terms of total seminars since the early 80s. And the value of that is not just the benefit of someone that is comfortable in the seminar itself process, but also someone that is comfortable in the setup and comfortable in helping you understand the numbers and comfortable in helping you get appointments and comfortable in helping you get to second appointments. So to have a coach with Dave's experience and with Dave's I think innate desire to see salesmen like himself be successful is something that, in our view, is priceless. And based on results, I think the folks that Dave has worked with in the coaching arena would agree that that is pretty priceless for them. So we're very fortunate and can't say enough about the benefit that someone of Dave's caliber and Dave's team has benefited our producers over the years. And as I've said, whatever's good for our producers is good for IAM. So, we always appreciate Dave's input. We're going to go through some basic tenets of 401k and IRA rollover market. We're going to talk about seminars, and then before it's all over, if you want to get more information and learn a little bit more about how Dave can help you in the seminar business, you're going to have opportunity to get that. So without further ado, turn over to the coach, Mr. Dave Pimper.
Thank you, Steve, and I appreciate everybody being on the phone. We got a big crowd again talking about marketing, how to get in front of people, and I like to say that our business is it's a pretty simple business. You got to get in front of enough people, you got to close enough people. But is it easy? Of course, it's not. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it. The smartest people would be the most successful, and that just isn't the case. I mean, it takes a lot of perseverance, it takes a lot of education, staying up with things. But it's I always say it's more of a contact sport than what football is that you've got to be in contact, and whether it be by phone or whether it be by face-to-face, but there has to be a talking dialogue for that sale to happen. 401k IRAs, when we talk about beneficiaries, you talk about required minimum distributions, you talk about Roth and Roth conversions. That's what this seminar does, and there's no doubt that it's a huge marketplace. Now, Steve, what is the next slide? And you're going to have to help me here where you're at because I can't see anything on my screen. So if Steve, maybe he is not going to be there, but if not, then because I can't do the screen, so I am going to just walk through with my notes, and it may not accompany the screen, and don't let that bother you if it does not. But I want to go in and talk just about a little bit of how much do you really know about the 401k marketplace. So, and I'm going to read this question and see if you know the answer to this question. Steve, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Yep. We're going through the slides.
Okay. Are we on how much do you really know? Is that the slide
question
we're on?
number 1. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay. And I may not. You're going to have to just kind of announce what the slide is and what the title is, because I'm not sure that my notes go exactly with it, because I've changed it some through the last few months. So it says you make your initial Roth IRA contribution for the 2015 tax year on April the 15th, but you can go out till when you go in and do your taxes of 2016. How many years do you have to wait to withdraw all of your money tax free? So that's not just the principal, of course, that's after tax, but your growth in your earnings.
I'm going to page down, Dave. Got the answer.
So good. So if you said 5 years, you're wrong. It's 3 years, 8.5 months. And the reason for that is all of the contributions go in as of 1/1 of the year that you're making the contribution of. So whether it's April 15th of the next year, you go back to 1/1 of the year before. So it could be as short as 3 years, 8.5 months. Yeah, interesting.
Number two.
What type of trust do you have to establish for your IRA when your intent is to make sure that you're designated, the human beneficiary within that trust, are able to stretch out the tax deferral for their lifetimes? You know what kind of trust that is? Steve, you can show the answer.
There it is.
See-through trust. Or it's a look-through. You're looking through the trust, or you're seeing through the trust for the heartbeat of that conduit trust individual. That's how you're able to go in and stretch or inherit that IRA through a trust. Number 3, what type of trust do you have to establish for your non-IRA with an annuity when your intent is to make sure the designated human beneficiaries within that specific trust are able to inherit or stretch out or can stretch the tax deferral? Trick question. Answer: can't be accomplished. Nope. So 5-year rule only. Number 4, what does the designation of per stirpes mean? That's pertaining to beneficiaries. So this per capita, that means per head, and per stirpes means by, answer, by root or by branch or by bloodline. That's when, if you haven't changed a beneficiary and say it was your 2 sons, if you don't change it, if it's per capita, all of the money would go to the one son. Here would go through to that other son's bloodline or to the children, not to the wife, but to the children. Interesting. Okay.
Next slide is potential rollover. Yep.
Good. Yeah. So this seminar is set up to get in front of people who are just about ready to retire or have just retired. So we're mailing usually from 55 to 70, or maybe 50 to 68 or 70. That's who we're mailing to. And so when you will take a look at slides, and I put this workshop together, and it does have a FINRA review letter with it if you're securities licensed for your broker-dealer. But I try to go in and be, as you will tell on this, and those are just some of the slides. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but you'll get a feeling. But I try to be compliant by having positives and negatives, okay? So I want it to be a balanced approach. But you could do nothing. Now, I'll say when you say 401k, that's for-profit retirement plans, but 403b, 457s, those are nonprofit and then government deferred comp plan, but they all have similarities that they're company retirement plans. You could do nothing. You can roll over to a new company retirement plan if they allow it. You can take a lump sum distribution, not very smart unless it's something called net unrealized appreciation, which we'll talk about. Convert it to a Roth IRA, or roll it over and transfer traditional. Of those, the most popular and how you'll get rewarded from a financial standpoint through compensation is most likely rolling it over, transferring it to a traditional IRA. Okay, next slide. So does it say do nothing?
Yep.
Yeah. So you could do nothing. You could leave it right where it is. Now, first of all, your company has to allow that, but normally if it's over $5,000, they will. And if you just do nothing, it'll stay there as long as they allow it, okay? Next slide. Why leave your investments in your current 401k plan? So here's what happens is, there's one of the good reasons to leave it there. If you're 55 years of age or older and you leave your employ, you retire, you're fired, you get another job, any of those, if you're 55 years or older, then you can go in and take your money out without a 10% penalty. Still pay taxes on it, of course, but there's no 10% penalty. So the reason this could come into play is, let's say you've got $300,000, and I'll ask somebody, they're 56 years of age and they're retiring, and they want to roll the whole thing over into an IRA with me. But I'll say, is there anything that you want to, say they don't have a lot in savings? It's a lot, they're kind of 401k poor. So a lot of it's in their 401k, and they said, yeah, I've had a guy before that, he wanted to buy a car. The car was going to cost about $40,000. Well, he had, so what happened was we kept like $50,000 or $60,000 in that 401k, rolled everything else out, because from an IRA, you're going to have a 10% penalty, aren't you? Anytime before 59.5. But not with the 401k. Now, what happens if you retire at 54? Can you take it out when you're 55 and you're not working for them any longer? No. You have to end employ when you're 55, 56, 57, 58, 59 and a half. Okay? Now, other considerations, I talk about creditor protection. An individual retirement account will not be as strong if you're under a bankruptcy or some kind of a big lawsuit. That's considered from state to state, but it's still safer in a company retirement plan. Why would you leave it there? You're just familiar. It may not be the best reason, but I'm just using this as hypothetical, but we use Vanguard funds right now. I know the fees are extremely low, and I'm just comfortable with it. Okay? May offer lower fees than alternative choices, but they could be higher fees. What's the internal fee of a fixed annuity? Well, there isn't any. No. Okay? Unless there's some type of an income living benefit rider, but as long as there's not, you're getting paid a specific amount of interest, or a fixed indexed annuity without a rider. What's the internal fee? No. You have surrender charges, you have caps or participations, but you don't have an internal fee. On the majority, if it's a 1-year point-to-point cap, say the S&P, you don't. So it could be lesser fees or no fees. But it could be just an easier choice. No decision has to be made now. They're just comfortable where they're at. So the reason I wanted to go through this with everybody on the webinar today is that I'm trying to like how much money do we make if they leave $60,000 and we don't roll it over? Well, at 5%, that could be $3,000 out of your pocket that you're not making, but it is in the client's best interest. How often has it happened? Not often, but I actually won a case because that wasn't told to the person with the other person that I was kind of competing against. I believe if you can impress the person with your knowledge on this subject, then there's no doubt that you have probably a better fighting chance to win that business. If there's any questions whatsoever, and I apologize, I very well could have been user error on my part not getting in, but for some reason I couldn't get in. But if you have a question, then Steve will read those, and then we'll certainly answer those at the end here. Okay, next slide. Does it say roll your retirement funds? Is that the next one, Steve, or not?
Yep.
No?
Yep.
Okay. Roll your retirement funds to a new company retirement plan. Yeah, well, basically, it's just like keeping it there. I have a couple extra ones about service and guidance. How much service and guidance do you get with the 401k plan? Even if you're paying that custodian, i.e. be it Fidelity or Vanguard, paying them to help you diversify and rebalance your money, do they ever ask you the tough questions that a financial advisor will? No, they don't. They don't. They don't know you. They don't meet you face to face. How many things, would you go to a doctor and not be face to face? Would you Would you marry your wife or husband and not see them face to face? No, you wouldn't do that. Most people don't want to do it with their money. Money's a pretty important thing. Loan provisions. If you need loan provisions, and I'm not in favor of that, a company retirement plan, but it normally is available as long as the blueprint of that 401k plan says that it can, the custodial documents, but you cannot take a loan from an IRA. Okay? And some people they like the idea of consolidating funds when they get older. Sometimes it's not in an IRA. Sometimes it's in the company retirement plan. Okay, next slide. Take a lump sum distribution. Steve, I'm just going to read the top, and if it's wrong, you let me know, okay?
Yep, that's what we'll do. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so here's what happens is, if you take a lump sum distribution from a company retirement plan, first of all, it's taxed as ordinary income. Can't defer anymore. The government's going to take out 20% on federal income taxes. They don't believe you're going to pay. They're going to make sure you do, though. Yeah, unbelievable, 52% or 53%, so more than half of the people cash out of a 401k or a 403b. Is that bizarre? And pay the taxes on it. But there is one good reason to lump sum. It's called net unrealized appreciation. Next slide. So it says net unrealized appreciation, the acronym of NUA, net unrealized appreciation. So just in basic terms, this what happens. Say there's $400,000 within a company retirement plan, say a 401k. And that 401k, you're working for IBM. And let's say you've been putting in, a lot of companies will let you buy into IBM either at a discount or their stock options, which of course hopefully is at a discount. But you're amassing stock through the years you've worked there. Say you're there 30 years. Say you have $300,000 in mutual funds, you have $100,000 in company stock of your $400,000 total monies, and you're going to retire. Well, normally you would roll that entire thing over into an IRA. And so there's no taxation, and when you take it out, everything is taxed as ordinary income tax. But if you segregate the $100,000 of IBM stock and you move that into a personal account, say the cost basis is $25,000, it's worth $100,000, but you've only put in $25,000 worth. What happens is you're taxed on ordinary income tax at $25,000, but what happens on the other money? Well, you're taxed at a long-term capital gain rate. Not right when you do it, not like the ordinary. Whenever you take that money out, that's when you're taxed for it. So what happens is that you can kind of regulate when those taxes come on in, but it's taxed at a lower tax bracket rate, 15 or 20%, instead of 36%, which is the high bracket for 2018 with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So the two things that come into play here, first you have to have highly appreciated company stock. Work for IBM, IBM stock. Can't work for IBM and have Microsoft stock. Can't work for IBM and have Kellogg stock or John Deere stock. Has to be the company. If you work for Exxon, it has to be Exxon stock. Okay, the company stock. But it's called net unrealized appreciation. But it has, it works if the stock's highly appreciated and if you're in a high enough tax bracket. The higher brackets you're in, the better it works. So pretty cool. Called net unrealized appreciation. I used to pay to have a humorist, a cartoonist, but I paid a royalty on my workshops. Now I basically just use which is kind of funny or unique sayings. This is by Henry Heine, way back in the 1800s. But he says, experience is a good school, but the fees are high. And they'll laugh a little bit and say, folks, here's what happens is, say you're a day late getting your required minimum distribution in. Supposed to have it in by December 31st, you get it in January 1. Say you're paying $10,000 of your required minimum distribution. You know how much the fine is? $5,000. 1 day late. How about, and we'll talk about it, there's indirect rollovers. Well, with indirect rollovers on IRAs, you've got to go in and you can only do one per all of your IRAs, all of them. Say you've got 5 IRAs, one per 365 days. Say you did one for 100,000 and then you did another one within the 365 days period for $1,000. You know what? Everything is taxed. Both of them. Horrific penalties. I wouldn't try to do it by yourself. Next slide. What is a Roth IRA? Well, Roth is a tax-free investment versus a tax-deferred investment on a traditional IRA. One of the beautiful things about a Roth is there's no age limits. As long as you've got earned income, 1099, W-2, earned, not passive income, but earned wage income, working income, you can do a Roth IRA no matter how old you are. Now, the nice thing is there's no required minimum distributions for a Roth. How about if you're married, say the guy dies, the mom gets it. Well, the wife gets it. She doesn't have any RMDs. She's going to inherit that on a spousal privilege benefit. And then say the kids get it when the mom dies. Well, they have to take RMDs according to their age, but there's, of course, no taxes on that. It's a kind of a neat wealth transfer of tax-free assets. Okay? Now, there are income brackets. So if you're married, filing jointly, it's just under $200,000 and about $130,000 if you're single, $199,000 if you're married. If you make more than that, then you aren't able to use a Roth IRA. That's not the same for a traditional IRA. Then there's IRA Roth conversions, converting a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. Say you have $100,000 and you want to convert that. Well, that $100,000 comes out of your traditional. Here's the tough thing: you got to pay taxes on it. Okay, $35,000, $40,000 goes out for state or federal and state taxes. If you do have state taxes, yeah, that's very expensive. And then you can roll the whole thing over the whole $100,000. Well, you got to come up with money because you're paying taxes. What a lot of people do is they do a partial conversion. Hey, I don't want to pay $30,000, $40,000 out taxes, but I don't mind paying out $3,000, $4,000. And that's what happens when you take $10,000 out a year, say each year over a 10-year time period. Now, on the conversion, it's also tax-free. It's set up very similarly as if you put in with your Roth, your $5,500 if you're under 50. If you're 50 and over, you're going to step up of $1,000 to $6,500. But here you can basically do any amount of money on the conversion. The government will go in and they will take that tax money. So tax-free, no benefit going in a Roth investment, big benefit going out tax-free. Traditional, you have deductibility going in, gross tax deferred, but it's taken out as ordinary income tax when it's liquidated. If you got any questions, just go ahead and certainly type them on in, and we will answer those for you. So this how to reverse a Roth conversion is called the OOPS rule in the 2000 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Done. We can't do it any longer. And I'll tell you what I've been doing, and I will do it through summer, but the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, or the Trump tax reform, there hasn't been a big tax reform since 1986. Well, that was over 30 years ago. I was in the business then. I've been in the business for about 5 years before that. This is the first major. And what I do is I call this a 2008 kind of outlook, an update. And we talk about that. I've got 4 slides in here that I don't think I have on this specific seminar or webinar that you're seeing, just kind of have an updated. But what happens, I do put 4 tax slides in there. So they talk about corporations, repatriation, where the government allows companies like Apple, they're $252 billion. That's what the B, like big, 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 $1 billion. They're repatriating that over back into the U.S. They have to pay about 15.5% taxation on that money. So it's $38 billion Apple's paying. to bring back in $252 billion. What's the big thing about that? Well, claiming Apple says that they're going to have in the U.S. now, because of that $250 billion coming back in, because of lower taxations. Instead of paying 35% corporate tax rate, the highest rate now is 21%. It's a huge deal. No, what happens? They're going to pay $38 billion of fines to bring that money back in one time. But it's supposed to create 20 to 40,000 jobs in the U.S. Cisco has a ton of money, not as much as Apple, but nobody does. But Cisco's got about $68 billion where they're repatriating and bringing it back in for 2018. It's a big deal. They're going to create more jobs. And you see companies like Home Depot, Cisco, other countries that have gone on in and that are having bonuses because of the tax law. Or how about a proprietorship, like a lot of independent reps are, or an S Corp like I am, or an LLC, well, limited liability company. There's going to be a flow through. I mean, if you make under $315,000, which is the majority of the people, if you're a small mom and pop shop, of your adjusted gross income, yeah, you're going to be able to deduct the first 20%. So that's $20,000 per 100,000 of adjusted gross income that is not going to be taxed. You don't think that's a huge thing when it comes to the proprietor, or it flows back through to the into the employees? You darn right it is. So there's some real benefit. Well, first of all, and again, I go through this, but and I'm not a tax guy, but I certainly can read and I understand, kind of the tax logic. But the personal exemption goes away, but the standard deduction, instead of $12,700, or excuse me, instead of $6,350, now it's $12,700 for a single, or instead of it's about doubled. I think maybe it's about 12,000, or I think the standard deduction was a little over 12,000 last year. Now it's 24,000 for a married couple. It's huge. Last year, 70% of the people did standard form in taxation. The short form, now they think it's going to be 94% will take the standard deduction. It's a big, big deal. But just to let you know, we do go, that's kind of timely information. People enjoy hearing that. Okay, next slide. How much do you move your 401k, or how do you move your 401k to an IRA? Remember I talked about indirect rollovers and direct? Next slide. Indirect rollovers, just the checks made to you. Legally, can you do this? Yeah. So if it's coming from a company-sponsored plan, they're going to take 20% out. If it's coming from just an IRA to another IRA, no, they're not going to take the 20% out. But you can only do one every 365 days. One per 365 days for all of them that you have. That's, so if you got a bunch of, you just don't want to do two, or they're going to be taxed. Yeah. Now, to roll it back over, it needs to be in a 60-day time period. So there's a time period. The 61st day, all of it would be taxed. And the interesting thing on this is companies like Fidelity, MassMutual, Vanguard, a lot of the big wigs now, you can call on the phone. I just put it on speakerphone. You get your prospect or your prospective client right there on the phone, request the check, and the check is made out to the custodian but mailed to their address of record of the 401k. So it goes to Mr. and Mrs. Jones's personal residence. Well, is that bad? No. As long as it's not made out to them, then you're A-okay. That's a direct rollover then. It's not an indirect rollover. I don't like those type of rollovers at all. Go to the next slide, direct rollover. Now it's called a transfer, but it's custodian to custodian or trustee to trustee. They go directly to the new custodian. No 60-day limit, no 20%, no 12-month holding. No. Better, simpler, safer for you to use. So if you can directly roll over or directly transfer retirement monies, that's what you want to do. Next slide. So why? Why directly transfer? First of all, You can do it with going into a new IRA or an existing IRA. But why? Well, you're continuing the tax deferral. Hopefully, you have different or more investment options than you do. I mean, the guaranteed rate in most retirement companies' retirement plans is pretty pitiful. And like the stable income funds, stable doesn't mean a guarantee of principal, does it? Like we have a fixed indexed annuity. Fees, consolidation, simplification. Yeah, that's what people want to do. Next slide. So beneficiary, the 7 beneficiary options. And those, we go a little more into depth on this in the real. I mean, I'm kind of highlighting here, but leave it blank, name your estate or will. So I'll say to the crowd, what's troublesome about naming your estate or your will as the beneficiary? Goes to probate. Now, some things you want to go to probate, like land, because of a stepped-up cost basis. But do you want where you've got a beneficiary item like an IRA? Do you want that to go into your will? No. You want that money to go directly to your beneficiary. Your spouse, if married, your children, grandchildren, other individuals, charity. And I always say don't use a Roth IRA, a tax-free Roth and charity, because a charity, once it flows through, it's already tax-free. There's not such a thing as double tax-free when it comes to IRAs. And trust. The next slide. Do I have the clock here, Steve? Is that what it is?
Yep, you have the clock.
Yep, good. I've got all the money I'll ever need if I die by 4 o'clock. Henny Youngman, who is kind of famous for "Take my wife, please." Yeah, you don't want that to happen to you. Just have so little money. Next slide. So don't forget to designate beneficiaries to stretch. So how you inherit the IRA, and I'm not going to take the time now because we're kind of running out of time. I know there's a few questions. But what happens is inherit just means that you're going to go in and not take out as high a percentage the people who get this money after your death. If your kids get it, if you're 88, the older you are, the more you got to take out. Maybe they're 50. They don't have to take out as much. But there's specific things that have to be set up. Next slide. You got to properly title your inherited IRA. This one here, John Doe Sr. IRA deceased when? April 3rd of 2015, for the benefit of his son, John Doe Jr., beneficiary. Has to be set up correctly. And what happens is that there's specific timelines too. When you got to start taking RMDs, which is the end of the year or end of the year of next year. You've got to designate the beneficiary by September the 30th of the next year. Some very specific guidelines. Next slide. Remember I talked about per capita and per stirpes? I go a little bit more into depth now. And the very last thing is a transfer on death, TOD. That's a non-retirement account. So it could be, if the bank, it could be a checking or a savings, could be CD, could be a savings bonds, could be a brokerage personal account. You transfer on the death to an individual. The reason, the big thing was this is that people, when you had husband and wife, the husband would die, the wife was there, and to make sure that the money went to the children, they would put their children's name on as a joint owner with right to survivorship. This does away with that. You can keep it in the individual name, and it transfers on death. It's basically a non-IRA beneficiary form called transfer on death. Next slide. RMD, required minimum distribution. Remember, at 70.5, when you turn 70.5 that year, you got to take a required minimum distribution. You always have to take out at the end of the year. So December 31st, they have 216 for whatever the value was on December the 35th of 215. Every one of your IRAs, you will go in traditional IRAs because there's no RMDs on Roths, tax-free Roths, right? Yeah. You're going to get a notice from your custodian on what your RMD is. But it goes from a schedule, an RMD schedule. And remember, if you've got 3 401ks, you got to take them individually from each one. You have 3 IRAs? Nope. You can take it from 1, from 2, from 3, all from 1, all from another, equal 3. You have much more flexibility with IRAs than you do with 401ks. QLACs, Qualified Longevity Annuity Contract. Government is all for them, but it's a type of a contract where you can defer your RMDs. I don't go into it here, but I go into more in the regular seminar. Arthur Godfrey, with his pockets out, says, I'm proud to be paying taxes in the U.S. The only thing is, I can be just as proud for half the money. Don't overpay with taxes. And then kind of our final slides. In-service non-hardship withdrawal plan. Yeah, this is it. When you're 59 and a half or older, your company allows you to take money out of your 401k or 403b or 457 when you are still working there. And my last three pretty big deals I did were all in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. So it's easy. If it's a Vanguard, I just call the custodian and say, hey, do you have a 59 and a half rule that you can take money out? Or an in-service non-hardship withdrawal? They'll let you know. And then 5 rules to know when working. And then I talk about the specifics on this. Consider using IRA money and delaying Social Security. I would have said this 10 years ago. But the more I know about Social Security, if you don't know Social Security, we have a seminar on Social Security also claiming. So those are 2 hot topics. They're hot topics. You want to fish with the best worm out there. Those are 2 of the best worms when it comes to seminar marketing. Social Security is very misunderstood. And people that have enough money, and it depends on what their expenses are and debt load is, but if they've got $300,000 or more, they've got probably enough money where they could take some from their monies, from their retirement monies, and pay taxes on it. If it's retirement money, all you're doing is taking your RMD, required minimum distribution, early. Instead of 70.5, maybe you take it at 66 or 67. But delaying Social Security gets you an extra 8% from full retirement age. Say you're 66, born from 43 to 54 to 67. That's a pretty big deal. 8%. And cost of living. This year it's 2%. So if you get a $2,500 high benefit with Social Security, if you wait 1 year, you get $250 for your lifetime per month. Well, how about if the man passes, the woman now can jump up to that higher benefit. It's a big, big deal. So we bring that into the conversation. Next slide. So I say there's a lot to think about, a lot of information here. Then the next one is no obligation consultation. We have a yellow form that we take out, they take out, and they actually are marking. We marked off the calendar for the next 2 weeks. So the time, the date, they mark it right here. We call them the next day and verify it. Next slide. The promises to you, I always say leave your checkbook at home. We're going to uncover one financial problem. And then I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll say, so, if you don't know what are your best rollover options for your company retirement plan, maybe you need to mark yes. I make a big check mark, And then I talk about second opinion, and I have a little fun on the very last slide. I talk about Big George Foreman. Big George was a great heavyweight fighter, made a ton of money, but where did he make the most money? The George Foreman Grill. Go Google it up. It's true. Not counting any of the overrides he got paid or endorsements or appearances. He got paid $138 million to use the George Foreman name. I just was out and walking through cookware and saw George Foreman Grill out at Walmart, still around. So I always say, unless you've got your name on a George Foreman grill, name on a grill, unless you got your name on a grill, then you probably need to mark yes and come in and see me. And then people laugh, they chuckle. But this seminar, what's interesting is that it hits a lot of the interesting points that really bring up people their seat and say, "Oh, this guy or gal is an expert. I better go in and talk to them. Maybe I can have some great questions answered." They don't come in and you think, "I'm going to roll all my money over with you." But once you open up and get that foot in the door, then if you can show how you can help them, now you've got a pretty good chance of working with some or part of that money. So Dave Pimper, Lazarus Coaching is the name of my firm. I coach production. I've got about 475 public workshops, many more than that if you take events that I've spoke at. But I try to make a complicated subject and make it easier. We have 5 coaching sessions. I get paid from coaching. I get paid $150 per session, so that's $750 if you qualify, meaning your intent is to write business through the FMO, through IAMS, on the seminar, folks. Yeah, what happens in IAMS is it will pay me a check of $555. That leaves you with $195 to pay. for 5 coaching sessions. I give you 30 plus attachments. So if we talk about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, you're going to get 1, 2, or 3 articles that I attach. So you'll copy those off, print them off, copy them off, 3-ring binder them, and use that as a reference. It's a system. It's a turnkey system. Perfect? No. And what's the big cost to a system like this? It's not the coaching, it's not the seminar, but it's getting the people there. So there is a cost. 55 cents a piece. If we mail out 6,000, that's $3,300. Well, you could buy kind of a crummy, but you could buy a used car for $3,300. So we want this to be successful. And if we can get 35 to 45 people between 2 nights from the mailing, the odds of doing business are way in your corner. Yeah, way in your corner. And we can go to the very last slide. It says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Don't let that happen to you. Nothing good really comes from procrastinating. No one comes to me and says, hey, Dave, you can't believe how rich I got from procrastinating. If you heard something today in this webinar that you think, hey, I might want to get more information on that, then Steve will bring it up there, and then I'll let him see if there's any questions or he has comments. But what happens is that if you got some interest of talking with me, you've got some interest of upping your production for the rest of 2018, then mark yes, let's talk. Let's sit down for 25, 30 minutes on the phone. If you mark yes, then Lynn will call tomorrow. She's one of my 2 administrators. Lynn Fehlhauser will give you a call. And, be available or call her back, and we'll set up a 25, 30-minute talk with myself and just see if this is something that would benefit you. I've got 3 spots that are open. I coach 8 people a quarter. And I've got 3 that are open right now. 2 came open in the last 2 weeks. I got done coaching. But once you coach with me, then you could call me for anything from a financial standpoint from there on out. That's how that's the support that we're giving you. So, Steve, I'm going to jump this on over to you, see if there's any questions, and then we kind of close this up. But please do vote yes or no on that poll, folks.
And I did open the poll. Thank you, Dave, as always. I thought you did a great job, given that you weren't able to see what was going on there, so real pro. So a couple things that I will mention, and then we've got a couple questions we'll get answered as well, and I'll leave this poll up throughout so you have a chance to yes or no. A couple comments that I would make, as I mentioned on the front end, and Dave, I'm not sure when you tuned in. So Dave has got a lot of seminars under his belt. He's a producer right now. He basically does 2 to 3 different seminars right now that he kind of interchanges. He does Social Security, does retirement questions in the 401k seminar. And I think that you would probably agree, Dave, that maybe just lately in terms of actual size of business and conversion, probably the 401k one has been giving you the best overall return on your dollar right now. And so that kind of goes back to, like, one of the questions was, well, can you move, while someone's working, can you move their IRA or their 401k into an IRA? So you can answer that question for us, Dave.
Yeah, so if you got a 401k, and of course you can move that into an IRA. I mean, there's no problem whatsoever. And actually, you can do the vice versa. If the company will allow you, people can take their IRA and move it into a 401k also. So this wasn't the case if you looked at this 25, 30 years ago, but they're trying to have more flexibility when it comes to the movement and the transportation of the IRA itself.
So certainly in the non-hardship rule has helped quite a bit. In
Yep.
What you mentioned to me, just I think in the last couple of weeks, is maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it didn't seem like a lot of companies had that non-hardship provision. But I think because of liability, many 401k, many of the owners of companies of 401ks have taken on. That's become a much more common provision in 401ks. So don't forget to ask that question when you're talking to a client.
But especially with smaller plans. The bigger plans normally had them, but now we're seeing that smaller plans have them also.
Yep, it just makes sense for them to have it. So, and certainly when you look at someone that's in the production business, like Dave is, I would say probably 85 to 90% of his income probably comes from business. And I think that's the kind of person you want to coach with. And I would say this right from the get-go is that having a coach from our standpoint is the difference between success and failure. Certainly in the very short initial term and long term, a lot of people, if you're going to make mistakes in seminars, whether you're coaching or not, it's going to be on your first one or two seminars. Dave and his team can minimize those mistakes, and that can keep you from saying, you know what, that didn't work. And I didn't get my money back, or the return wasn't what I hoped it would be. And a lot of the times the reason that's true is because you haven't properly done everything that you needed to do. And there are so many variables, from who do I mail? Where do I have it? How do I convert to appointments? How do I convert my appointments to sales? And you need some help step by step on that, on each one of those steps to maximize the seminar. And especially on your first one or two or three, that's going to be really important. And that's why coaching is so important. So I would say no matter who you choose to do business with, if you want to do seminars, and I think you should, if you have any level of comfort in speaking in front of groups, I think you should consider seminars in whoever you decide to do it with. Make sure that you've got coaching at every step. Now, some of our competitors offer that, some don't. We think we've got the best coach in the country because of the number of seminars that he's done and the success that he has on his own, and the fact that he's currently doing that production himself. We think those are all very important. So if you have some interest in that, or if you just have questions on 401k seminars and how they work, or seminars in general, you want to talk to Dave, simply check yes on that poll. As Dave said, don't procrastinate. If you think, well, let me think about that and get back to Dave, no reason to do that. Just check yes and have the conversation with Dave. It might be a 5-minute conversation where we find out it's not a fit for you, or it might be a 25 to 35-minute conversation where it could be something that changes the trajectory of your practice for years to come. No doubt the opportunity is out there right now. There's more people to talk to than ever before, and frankly, there's less people like you to talk to them. So the opportunity is great. We want to help you. Dave is very good at helping you, and so I hope that this is something that you can take advantage of. There are a few other questions, Dave, and they have to do with the economics of seminars. So you talked a little bit about how many people you need to get in front of you. You talked a little bit about the mailer cost. How many people with your seminars, if you're doing a 401k seminar, how many people do you expect to convert to appointment, and how many of those do you expect to convert to sales, and what does that mean for you financially?
Yeah, if we mail out 6,000 pieces, we figure we're going to get about 0.7, 0.75. If we can get 35 to 45 people there, we're pretty happy, because that's going to be about 25, 6, 7 buying units, husband and wife being a buying unit, a single person being a buying unit. 15 or 20% of the people are there for the meal. They're there strictly to eat. Well, all of a sudden, your 25 or 6 goes down to about buying units, maybe 21, 22, something like that. And we'd like to close half of those for appointments, not close for business, for appointments. So if you have 10 appointments or more, that's my judgment. If we have more than that, then it was a pretty darn good event. If it was less than that, not as much. The odds are in our favor if we have 10 or more appointments. Normally, we're going to write from 1 to 3 pieces of business within within 3 different families. My goal is to put on $250,000 to $300,000 worth of new money from a seminar. Might be mine, because I do securities too. But if it's just fixed indexed or fixed, or from an asset under management, but that's what we're controlling, and it makes it profitable. But the reason people are not successful with seminars, Stevie, you know this, is that most people, they had a bad experience way back when a bad seminar dog bit them like 10 years ago. They didn't. But normally, how often do you have someone that has a proven track that's coaching with you? That's what we found the difference in the last 12, 15 years I've been working with IMs. Because Steve, in the beginning, we did seminars a lot without the coaching, and we had nominal success.
Yep. And
now with the coaching, not perfect, it's not 100% success, but we look much more like Villanova than we do Michigan. I will say that.
Yeah, it's like Villanova and UNMBC. But yeah, coaching, we really do believe that's the key, and we've had great success. I see that most of you have voted, a couple have not. If coaching is something that you're interested in any facet, or if you just have a couple questions that you'd like to run by Dave to get a better feel, certainly check yes on the poll. here at IAMS, we're going to pay for the lion's share of any costs associated with it. The only reason, frankly, that we don't pay for it all is we like to have everybody have just a little bit of skin in the game. If it was free, everybody'd do it. And when you're talking about spending just a little bit of money, then it at least separates the serious from the non-serious. And we just want people that are serious about this. The opportunity is ripe. There's no cap on the opportunity. And when we look at our top 20 guys, probably 12 to 14 of them are doing seminars in some form or fashion to add to their business. And so we know that seminars is still not only working, but a growing part of the success that you can have. So if it's something that is of interest, give yourself a shot. Put yes on the poll, chat with Dave. Maybe 401k seminars isn't it, but Dave does Social Security seminars, totally different outlook that you could certainly talk with him about at the same time. So great to have someone like Dave on the other end of the line when you're out there, fighting the battle every day to support yourself and support your family in this business. We know it's not easy. We know you need help, and that's why we have folks like Dave. And frankly, that's what has been the success formula for IAMS for the past 32 years is, bringing some assistance and some help to some folks along the way. So, Dave, do you have anything that you want to add before we close that poll out?
No, just having a steady stream of qualified prospects, whether they do business with you or not. I mean, you need to have them do business to eventually pay your bills and with your livelihood, but just getting in front of people and giving them advice, even if they're not becoming clients, it keeps you sharp, it keeps you up, it keeps you productive. And people who are productive, not busy, but reps who are productive in this business, they're successful financially. I'd love to talk with you, give you some ideas, see if something here could be a fit for you.
Thank you, Dave. I do appreciate you taking some time out today. There were a couple of other questions that had to do. So the next, as I think, hopefully I mentioned, the next academy that we're going to have is going to be here at Omaha at our office. The size of our training room, usually those run to about 40 to 42. The size of our training room, we like to keep that number at about 35. So if you have interest, some of you have already expressed interest or want a little bit more information, we'll be in touch quickly after today's webinar. There are some other questions, Dave, about 401ks that to me I think are better answered one-on-one, and I see that those folks have elected to speak with you. So you're going to get a couple calls where you might have a couple of other questions that you can answer as well. We certainly appreciate that, obviously. By the way, Dave does present at our Life and Annuity Academies, has for almost since, in fact, we met Dave at one of our Life and Annuity Academies.
Yep, that's right.
12, 13 years ago. So, but yeah, almost everyone since then, he has been one of our presenters, and it's been a great benefit to our producers. And like I said before, that's the key to our success is helping our producers. So as we close out today, I'll leave it with that. Whatever we can do to be of assistance to you to help you grow your business, that's what we're going to do. And we'll go the extra mile for you. And part of that is having great partnerships like what we have with Dave and his team at Lazarus Coaching. So have a great day. Have a great finish to your sales week. And I look forward to your phone calls and watch for a call from Dave and his team for those of you that selected interest sometime here in the next couple of days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a real productive week. Bye-bye.